The 2025 NHL Free Agent Frenzy has passed, and Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings would make a few signings during the day that saw most high-end free agents either return to their former team or sign a new contract that is way of an overpayment. But yet, I've seen some fans upset that we didn't go out and spend all on these big names. But did you know that normally the teams who spend the most have the worst season the following year? Just look at last season, for example. The Nashville Predators, Boston Bruins, and Seattle Kraken all spent a ton of money to upgrade their teams, and yet all three would go on to miss the playoffs. And now, these teams have expensive contracts to deal with, so I think it was smart that Steve Yzerman made small signings. But before we look at the July 1st free agent signings, the day before, Steve Yzerman did some work within the roster, signing Patrick Kane to a 1-year, $3 million contract, as well as bringing back Jonatan Berggren, who signed a 1-year, $1.825 million one, as well as last year's most impressive young rookie, Albert Johansson, who signed a 2-year contract extension at $1.125 million per season. Emil Vero was also offered a qualifying offer, and it was just announced today that Elmer Soderblom would be back on a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1.25 million. Detroit also announced they didn't qualify offers to forward Cross Hannes and goaltender Gage Alexander. Starting off with Patrick Kane, it was kind of known he would be back after both Kane and Steve Yzerman both had interest in getting a deal done. But as the summer and free agency came closer, I was getting a bit nervous that Patrick Kane might have changed his mind. But in the end, Showtime will return for another season. Last year, Patrick Kane had 59 points in 72 games, recording 21 goals and adding 38 assists. Keeping Kane around is great for the young players on the roster. To see how an NHL superstar prepares for a game, we have already heard from Lucas Raymond, who is coming off a career-high 80-point season. Raymond has expressed how watching Patrick Kane and being able to ask him questions has really helped him. We all know Kane isn't a defensive player, but the thing Kane will provide is his clutch performances, as he's actually led the Red Wings in game-winning goals since he's arrived in Detroit. Next up is Jonatan Berggren. Berggren finished last season with 24 points in 75 games, with 12 goals and 12 assists. Throughout the season, Berggren had flashes of his rookie season, where he posted 28 points in 57 games with 15 goals and 13 assists. But other times he seemed lost, was making the wrong play, or passed up a shot instead of putting it on the net. Although, after the hiring of McLellan, Berggren did add 7 goals and 8 assists, so hopefully under Todd McLellan and his new system, Berggren can bounce back this upcoming season. Then there's Albert Johansson, who came into the NHL last year and just got better and better as the year went on. He started the year as a 7th defenseman, often being a healthy scratch, but by the end of the year, he is playing in a top 4 role and doing fairly well, even up against the world's best players. In 61 games, Johansson had 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points. With more development in the NHL, I could see Albert being a reliable choice on the back end for years to come. And while I was recording this, the Detroit Red Wings announced a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1.25 million to 6'8" forward Elmer Soderblom, who had quite the season for himself, spending the beginning in GR, where he was developing his all-around game. But when he did get called up to the NHL, Soderblom made an impact, recording 11 points in 26 games. This season, Elmer Soderblom should get a full roster spot and be a solid third-line goal scorer. Moving on to the July 1st signings now, we'll start off with the most recognizable name, James Van Riemsdyk, or better known as JVR, who signed a 1-year, $1 million contract with the Detroit Red Wings. JVR is a 36-year-old forward who is 6'3", 209 pounds, and loves to score goals around the net. To be honest, James Van Riemsdyk may be the best player in the NHL at scoring around the net. Last season, playing for Columbus, JVR posted 16 goals and added 20 assists for a total of 36 points in 71 games, and has consistently put up around 40 points a season. What JVR brings is another leader to the locker room, a guy who has over 1,000 games played in the NHL, a player who spent time on a rebuilding Maple Leafs team, someone who knows what to do and how to prepare, because being able to still put up solid numbers past the age of 34 is a big thing, especially for a bigger guy whose whole career has been tallied around being in the dirty areas to score goals. JVR can play up and down your lineup, adding depth scoring this team needs. Next up, I'll be talking about BernardDocker, who signed a 1-year, $875K contract. BernardDocker, who was actually part of the Dylan Cozens trade that sent him to Ottawa, a team where Jacob dealt with injuries and couldn't really showcase his playstyle, but in the games he did play, he put up some decent numbers. Back in the 23-24 season, Bernard put up 14 points in 72 games, with 4 goals and 14 assists for the Senators. But most recently, after the trade, Jacob played in 15 games for the Sabres, putting up 4 points and was a +3. He does need some work, but at 25 and only $875K, I absolutely love this signing. I also could see him slotting into the third player, replacing Justin Hall, which is definitely a big upgrade to me. Then the Wings would make some minor signings, bringing in Ian Mitchell to a 1-year $775K contract, who will most likely spend the 2025-26 season in GR and only be up if an injury occurred. But for anyone wondering, Ian Mitchell is a 6-foot, 192-pound right shot D-man who played last season with Providence in the AHL, putting up 27 points in 47 games with 4 goals and 23 assists. Throughout Mitchell's career, he spent time in both the NHL and the AHL, playing with both the Chicago Blackhawks and most recently the Boston Bruins. So he does have the ability to keep up in the NHL if needed. Then they also signed John Leonard to a 1-year $775K contract. Leonard is a 5'11", 190-pound left shot winger who has put up some pretty good numbers at the AHL level, but hasn't quite been able to find the offense at the NHL level. But last season, Leonard finished tied for second in the AHL at goals, where he would score 36 in 72 games. This season is interesting to see if maybe after a 36-goal season in the AHL, if he can put up some decent preseason, and he could be this year's Shine or Watson who comes up during the season when there's an injury and could put up a few goals while he's in the lineup. And as I was about to upload this video, Detroit just announced they have signed 29-year-old center Mason Appleton to a 2-year $2.9 million contract. Appleton is a 6'2", 194-pound center who's been playing for the Winnipeg Jets and 1 season with the Seattle Kraken. In 71 games last season, Appleton had 10 goals and 12 assists for 22 points. Appleton is most likely the replacement for Tyler Mott, who had just 9 points in 55 games. Appleton will bring size and a bit more goal scoring to the Red Wings' fourth line. Appleton will be best known for his defensive ability, hitting, blocking shots, and winning faceoffs. Last season, his faceoff percentage was at 45.5%, winning 10 out of 22 faceoffs. All in all, a very decent fourth-line signing. Now, although these aren't names like Mitch Marner or Vladislav Gavrikov like some thought July 1st would bring, but Steve Yzerman was able to go out and add some scoring to the bottom 6, as well as pick up a 25-year-old right shot project D-man who could do well under McClellan's system of trusting younger players. And speaking of the younger players, I feel this upcoming season we are going to see guys like Nate Danielson, Amadeus Lombardi, Jesse Kistinen, Carter Mazer, and even Axel Sandin Pellikka, I feel could all get looks in the preseason to crack the opening night lineup. I feel this may be the season the team gets younger and sees what the kids got. But that will do it for the free agency breakdown. If you enjoyed, please let me know by leaving a like and subscribe for future Red Wings content. I'm currently on the road to 2,000 subscribers. As always, I hope everybody has a great one, and let's go Red Wings.